With a little magic, we're going to make some orange cardamom rolls. I got this recipe from Barbara, who hosted a sourdough workshop. Now, these are not sourdough. They are a yeast recipe, but she says it's the best. So we're going to give it a try. Today I'll be using my KitchenAid mixer for the first time. Come along on my journey. With our dough hook on, we're going to add all of our wet ingredients to the bowl. We're going to start by adding 2 cups of milk. You can add whole milk. I'm using almond milk. Next we have 2 large eggs. Half of a cup of vegetable oil. I'm using coconut oil that I melted. On to our dry ingredients. I've got 4½ teaspoons of yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of cardamom, and 1/2 cup of sugar. You can use regular sugar. I'm using erythritol. I will turn this to mixer down. Let's set this on number 2, and we'll let it go for 10 minutes. Whoops! Don't forget to add your flour. Adventures with Linda, you never know what's going to happen. Let's get going on that. While that's running, I went ahead and lightly greased my bowl. Well, I hope it's working correctly. Okay, let's transfer to our grease bowl. We've got it in our bowl. Let's cover it with plastic. Probably not necessary, but I did go ahead and mark where it is sitting in the bowl. While our dough is rising, let's go ahead and grate our oranges. I did go ahead and clean these. It's not grating, we're zesting. We want to get as much orange zest off here that we can. And I have 2 oranges that we're going to do. You could probably get away with 1, but we're going to do 2. So that's about how much you get off of 2 oranges. And remember, don't throw them away. Eat them up yet. To our zested orange, we're going to add 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. Whoop. A little bit more than we needed. Oop. And we're just going to whisk that. Wow, you can see our dough has risen very well. Look at that. We're going to punch this down as soon as I flour my hands. We're going to dig that out of the bowl and get it on our floured surface. And I don't have a plastic scraper, so this will have to do. We're going to put this in a rectangular shape and roll it nice and thin. Next, we're going to grab some butter and just rub it on. We could melt it, but I hear that it changes it, so we're going to rub it on. Looks like we're going to need a little bit more. That taken care of. Next, let's take our mixture of the sugar, cardamom, and vanilla and sprinkle it on. We're going to leave a little bit on the edges, about 1/4 of an inch on the edges, give or take, just so we can roll this up nice. Such a fragrant smell. All right, let's roll it. Now I'm just going to grease or flour my hands. I did wash them in between here. And I'm just going to take the edge and I'm just going to roll it over nice and tight. And as I do that, any flour that's on the back side, I will brush off. It's sticking a little bit on the bottom, so we'll see how that's going to be. Maybe I didn't have enough flour down. We'll continue on with that. I guess that's what this tool could be used for. Funny what you learn as you go. Stay tuned. Okay, we got to the end, and I'm just gonna turn it a little bit, pull it, kind of stretch it, make it a little bit more uniform, and then we will cut. First, we're gonna pinch off our edges and get those nice and tight. Other edge over here, get that tucked in. Looking good. And now we're going to cut these in about 1 inch to 1.5 inch. Might be more than 1.5 inch. Went ahead and lightly greased my pan, so let's get these in. So I got this many in this pan, and I went ahead and got another pan. Someone's going to be very happy to have a lot of these. All right, they don't look too pretty, but I think they're going to be great. So we're going to let these rise for about 30 minutes. Slightly cover. And they have risen. Let's get these in the oven at 350. We're going to bake them for 20 minutes, and then we're going to insert a thermometer and check the temperature. Now to make the frosting, we've got about 4 ounces of very soft cream cheese. I've got a cup of powdered sugar. We're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to get that nice and creamy. And I'll add a little bit of creamer if I need it to make it more liquidy. And you can see it's kind of thick yet, so I am going to add a little bit of cream in there. Thin it out. And I'm just adding about 2 teaspoons. See how that does? If we need to add more sugar to thicken it, then we will. So you can see the consistency is nice and creamy, and that's about how we want that. All right, I took them out of the oven, and you want to bake them to get an internal temp of a 186 to 189. We're going to put these on a cooling rack and let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes before we add the frosting. That floral aroma of the cardamom with the citrus of the orange and the tender, juicy, warm inside of the orange cardamom cinnamon rolls were fantastic. And when I say were, it's because we ate them all. And I didn't even get to show you guys. They're really good. I hope you give it a try. And if you don't like orange cardamom, substitute that out and put some sugar and cinnamon in there for cinnamon rolls. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.